Namaskar. Very warm welcome to all our viewers and learners in this live phone-in session of CIT NCERT. I am Renu Bhatt with you all, and you are watching us live on eVidya channel, channel number 5, and apart from this channel, you are with us on our YouTube channel as well, that is ncertofficial Official. And in this specific session, dear learners and viewers, we are going to learn about a topic that is My Elder Brother. So, is it a poem or a story, and who wants to tell us about his or her brother? Our expert will let us know. And let me tell you that this session is for 5th standard English student, and we are accompanied by our expert. Let's meet her. You are Miss Kanika Bhalla. You are assistant professor from Guru Kashi University, Bhatinda. Very warm welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much for inviting me here.
And before we begin this particular session, let me share some certain information to all our viewers in case they want to know more about My Elder Brother, or they have any query and questions. They can reach out to us through our various mediums. You can call us on our telephone number, that is 8800 440 559. Either you can drop a mail at our email address, that is dth.class5th@cit.nic.in. And if you have joined us through our live streaming, then you have to go to the live chat box, and then only you can drop your comment out there. And before we begin this session, let me share a very important piece of information with you all regarding India's G20 presidency. We are indeed very proud that India assumed G20 presidency and will convene the G20 Leaders Summit for the first time in the country in 2023. A nation that deeply committed to democracy and multilateralism, India's G20 presidency would be a watershed moment in her history as it seeks to play an important role by finding pragmatic global solutions for the well-being of all. And in doing so, manifest the true spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or we can say the whole world is one family. With that very important piece of information, let's quickly get back to the session in which we are going to learn about a topic that is My Elder Brother. So, ma'am, we are very eager to know, is it a poem or a story?
Yeah, so My Elder Brother is actually a play by Premchand,
Okay.
Munshi Premchand. Yeah,
So, ma'am, so writer is Munshi Premchand. Could you please tell us about more about him?
Yeah, sure. So Munshi Premchand, as you can see in the picture, is a playwright of this play. So Munshi Premchand was basically famous as a writer and author, and not as a playwright. In fact, there are very few plays that are very famous. One of them is Panch Parmeshwar, which was translated into English as Fair Play, a play about what is the role of panchayat in villages. And then this play, which is also for kids like you, wonderful kids like you, called My Elder Brother. So Munshi Premchand originally wrote in Hindi and Urdu. He didn't write in English. And he died about, I guess, in 1936. And he was born in 1880 something. So he was born in the colonial India. So when Britishers were still in India. So there were a lot of debates about whether writers should continue in the language of the colonizers, or should they, give importance to their local languages. And he was the pioneer of Hindi and Urdu stories. There are a lot of short stories that have been written by Munshi Premchand, which are very famous. And apart from that, there are a lot of novels also that he wrote. The most famous one being Godan.
Right, ma'am. So, shall we start the story, ma'am, or play?
Yeah, sure. So the play is titled My Elder Brother, and as I told you that this was originally written in Hindi. In Hindi the title was Mere Bade Bhaiya, and I remember when I was a kid, I too studied from NCERT textbooks, and this play was in my class 6 Hindi textbook, and I found it very interesting. When I got this topic for today's lecture, I became very excited that I'll be teaching the same topic that I once learned as a student, and that too in English. So let's begin with the play. This is a short description about the story. The short play is about two brothers who are affectionate and respectful to each other. The story also shows that learning from our day-to-day experiences is as important as what we learn from books in the school. This play is based on the famous story in Hindi, Bade Bhai Sahab, written by Munshi Premchand. As I told you, that this was originally written in Hindi. Because Munshi Premchand deliberately chose not to write in the colonizer's language, English. So this story, the story of the play revolves around the relationship between two brothers and how their relationship changes according to their academic experiences. So let's begin. But before we start reading the play, I would like to discuss the words that might be new to you. All of these words will come in the play, so I deliberately kept them in the beginning, so when we encounter the words in the reading of the play, we have no difficulty in knowing the meaning of these. So the first word is foundation. Foundation. So this means a solid base. So you might also have heard this word from your mothers or your sisters who wear makeup. So foundation as a solid base is something that is applied as a very, a basic layer, and upon that you add more layers. So in the context of architecture also, foundation is something that is laid right in the beginning, and on the top of that the building is built. So foundation, it can be used in various contexts as you have seen, and here it means a solid base. The second word is schedule, and here it means a timetable. The third word is essay, and it is a composition on any subject. So right now, because you are in class 5th, you might have been asked a lot about your teachers to write an paragraph on something. So we have been doing this exercise since almost class 2 or 3. So when you have to write an paragraph about your mother or your pet, your parents, your best friend, and so on. But when you grow up, you will be asked to write essays. So the difference between an essay and a paragraph is that an essay is a bunch of paragraphs, if we simply put it like that. So a group of paragraphs is called an essay, and it has a logical beginning and a logical conclusion, and the other paragraphs deal with different ideas. So composition on any subject is called an essay. Then the other word is idling. Idling, so this means without any purpose or lazy. So you can chide your younger siblings by saying that you should not idle around. So it basically means to do something without any purpose or to waste time. The next word, the last word in the list, is mastered. It means gained expertise or skilled. So when you say that you are a master of something, that means you basically know most of the things or almost everything about the subject. So here in this context, it means gaining expertise or getting skilled on a certain topic. So these were the 5 words that I thought might be new for you, and in the textbook also these 5 words have been provided in the end. But as I said that I wanted to share with you these words in the beginning so that we do not face any difficulty when we read the play. So scene 1, as you know that whenever we do a play or write a play, because we cannot perform them in real settings, so we imagine that we are seeing certain things. So scene 1 or scene 2, scene 3, which means that basically these are descriptions of time. So in scene 1 there is a different time, in scene 2 there is a different time. So this is the way plays are written. So whenever you encounter the word scene 1, scene 2, even when you grow up, you have to remember that because time cannot be showed when you play something. So if you go to see a play or a movie, for example, so if you have to show that the child was born to a mother, and then the child grew up and he went to school and he learned a few things, and then he grew up and got a job, got married, had kids. So all of these things take time. But a movie or a play it cannot span for 24 or 25 years. So scenes are basically when we jump from one time period to another time period. So scene 1 is a hostel room. 2 brothers aged 9 and 14 years sitting at a study So you have to imagine these things when you read a play. The elder brother, Bhaiya, is reading a book, and the younger one, Munna, is drawing pictures of birds and animals. So there is a hostel room. This is what you have to imagine. And then there are two brothers. One of them is 9 years old, who is called Munna because he is small, and that is what Munna also means. And the other one is 14 years old, and his name is Bhaiya. So we can imagine that his name was something different, but since the younger one called him Bhaiya, that is why it is there in the play too. So you might have seen this technique being adopted by your parents also. So have you seen your mother or your father talk to each other by taking names? Usually in Indian households, also in the Western households, you might have seen your parents referring to each other as Papa or Mama. That is because children learn by imitation. So when you see that your mother is calling your father father, that means you also learn that you have to call him that. So this is basically the characterization of this particular play. So there are dialogues. Bhaiya says, "What are you doing, Munna?" So what do you think he was doing? We just read about this.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Munna.
Munna is drawing. He is drawing, ma'am.
Pictures. Yeah, correct. So Munna is drawing pictures of birds and animals, and the elder one is reading a book. So he says, "What are you doing, Munna?" Munna says, "I'm drawing." And then Bhaiya says, "When will you study? Where were you in the morning?" Munna, turning pale, "I was playing, Bhaiya. How can you sit with a book for hours together?" So Munna, because he is a small child and he respects his elder brother a lot, when he is asked a question like, "When did you study? You are drawing all the time, or you are idling all the time. So where were you in the morning?" He said, "Oh, I was playing." And then he gets scared and he said, but Bhaiya, how can you sit with a book for so long?" And then Bhaiya says, "That's because I want my foundation in education to be strong. If the base is strong, then the building will stand firmly. Sometimes it takes me 2 years to do 1 year's work." So this is very interesting actually. So Bhaiya here says that I study a lot and I sit with books for such long hours because I want the base of my education, or the foundation of my education, to be strong. Because if the foundation is strong, the building will be strong. Otherwise, the building will collapse. So you can, you have to imagine that he's not actually talking about a real building. He is actually talking about his education. That if he learns the concepts right, only then he will be able to use them in future properly. For example, in your childhood, you were told or you were taught how to add numbers, basic numbers, like what is 2 plus 2 or what is 2 multiplied by 2. So all of these basic concepts can be called the foundation of your education. So right now, when you do long division methods or other complicated mathematical techniques, so if your foundation is not strong, you'll have to depend upon calculators and other stuff for doing that. So if you know that, okay, 2 multiplied by 2 is 4, you'll be quickly able to write your answers. Base your answers into some complicated mathematical formula. So he says that I sit with the book all the time because I want to have a strong foundation of my education. He's not talking about a building here. And then he says that sometimes it takes me 2 years to do 1 year's work. So we can assume here that he actually fails, So that is why he sits a class twice, and he is saying that it takes me 2 years to do 1 year's work. So then Munna says, "Bhaiya, you are 5 years older than I am and 3 classes ahead of me. I wonder why you keep writing the same word 20 times, one sentence more than 20 times, and copy poems several times in beautiful letters." And then he asks that, "Yeah, I am so confused about this thing, that you are 5 years older to me, like biologically, age-wise, If you subtract 14 minus 9, you are left with the number 5. So he says that you are 5 years older to me, but when we consider the gap between our education, it's only 3 years. So you are just 3 classes ahead of me. So if you are 5 years, older than me, you should also be 5 classes ahead of me. But why is that? And I also wonder, why do you keep writing the same word and the same sentence over and over 20 times? So we can guess that Bhaiya is not that brilliant or strong while learning concepts. That is why he has to do it again and again in order to do it properly. Then Bhaiya says, studying English is no child's play. One has to work very hard in order to learn the subject. To speak or write English properly, tremendous effort is required. But the moment you get a chance, you run to the field, play marbles and fly paper kites, or sit idling away with friends for fun. Can't you sit down and study? Now Bhaiya is very angry here, you can see. He says that, don't you see that studying English is so difficult? So no child's play is basically an idiom which means a difficult task. So something that a child can do is considered to be easy, and something which a child cannot do is considered to be difficult. So he says that studying English is no child's play. That means he is saying that studying English is very difficult. And he says that one has to work very hard to learn the subject. And if you have to write or speak English properly, you have to do a lot of effort. But then he addresses Munna and says that, but whenever you get a chance, you just run away. You go and play with your friends, you idle away your time, you waste your time, you fly paper kites and play with marbles and run to the field. Why cannot you sit down and study? So he is very angry at Munna, as you can see. Then Munna says, oh Bhaiya, there's a big mela in the village today. Should we go? So here mela has been written in italics. You see the font of the word mela is different from the others. It is because it is not an English word. So whenever we write English and we use words which are not in that language, we use a different font. So he says that there's a big mela in the village today. Should we go? And then Bhaiya, gets very angry now. He says, have you ever seen me going to a fair or going to watch a cricket or hockey match? I don't go near them. I prefer to study a book. I don't mind repeating a class for more than 2 years. But you might stay in the same class all your life. Do you expect to pass if you waste your time playing all the time? You are simply wasting father's hard-earned money. Now he gets very angry and he says, when have you seen me going to a cricket match or a hockey match or going to a fair? He said, I don't go near them because I always prefer to study a book instead of wasting my time like this. And he says that it's okay that I am repeating a class, but if it comes to you, I know that you will remain in the same class for all your life because you do not study at all. And he says that you are wasting our father's money, hard-earned money, by not paying enough attention to studies. So Munna starts crying on being scolded, and sobbing sounds, wah 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 wah, hoo are heard. So he starts crying because he's a small child and he's not used to scolding, and when the Bhaiya or his elder brother scolds him, he starts crying. And then he says, Bhaiya, I feel like running away and going back home. So the picture of education that Bhaiya presented in his mind scares him a lot, and he says that I'll just run away and go back home. And Bhaiya says, okay, now, stop crying. Put on a nice smile. Look, I'll make a timetable for you to follow. Get up at dawn. And then he makes the timetable, as you can see, that he has to first wash his hands, have his breakfast, and sit down to study. So from 6 to 8, they'll study English, then they'll study maths, history, and then they'll go to the school because they are in a hostel, they have to go to school also. Then half an hour for strolling. So strolling means casual walking. And then he'll study English composition, then they'll have dinner, and then they'll study translation and Hindi and other subjects, and then back to bed. So this is the schedule that Bhaiya makes for Munna. So as you can see, Munna is drawing a picture and they are having a conversation. Bhaiya is reading a book and he hands him the schedule that he makes for him.
Ma'am, here let me tell you that we have 4 more minutes left for the session, ma'am.
Okay, sure. So Munna says, but when is the time to play? Bhaiya says, play? What is the need of playing? Munna said, oh, I love the green fields, the green gentle breeze. I want to jump up like a football. I like the touch and go and hoo-hoo-too-too sounds of kabaddi, and the hurry and flurry of volleyball pulls me like a magnet. As soon as I am on the field, I forget everything. So he wants to play, but Bhaiya didn't put the thing play in the whole schedule. Now the scene changes. The final exams are over, the results are out. And Bhaiya says, alas, I have failed again. So Bhaiya fails this time. Munna says, oh, but Bhaiya, I have passed and topped my class. Now there is just 2 years difference between us. Bhaiya says, but my dear brother, don't be so proud. You have passed only 1 class and you think that I am stupid and you are smart. Once in a while in a gulli danda game, you might get lucky and hit a goal. But that doesn't mean you have mastered the game. You have to work hard to be successful in life. So in all of this dialogue, he basically says that it's okay that if you have passed 1 time and I failed, it's okay. But this won't happen again because he doesn't study at all. So Munna says, oh Bhai Sahab, this is scary. I don't think I want to go to the 9th class. But I'll complete my day's homework so that I get no punishment in class. So this is this particular dialogue is the gist of the whole play. That he says that I don't know, I don't think about bigger things, but I know that if I do today's homework, that is enough, and then I'll go to play. Bhaiya said that just today we were asked to write short passage on the topic of punctuality.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. It seems like it's a long play. Could you please summarize this play?
Sure. Okay. So after that, Munna, because he keeps on passing, but Bhaiya fails every time.
Okay.
So Munna, gets a little rude to him, and then he says that okay, that I can pass without studying, and Bhaiya studies all the time. Even then, he cannot, pass the class. But Bhaiya then, and he plays, as you can see in the picture, he starts playing. But then Bhaiya says that if you are actually not studying, that doesn't mean anything. But if you're not smart at life, he asks him, what will you do if I fall ill? And Munna says that, oh, I don't know, I didn't think of that. I might call father and he'll see what to do. And then Bhaiya asks him, do you know what is the qualification of our father? And then he tells him that both their parents are actually illiterate and they never went to school. But they have so much experience in life that even if Munna reads all the book in the world, he cannot have that same experience. So the message that Bhaiya wanted to give was that one should be humble and respect elders. And the thing that we can learn from Munna is that if you are consistent at studies, you will achieve what you want. So there are a lot of messages that this play delivers. Also, one of the message that Premchand delivers through this character Bhaiya is that you don't have to work all the time. You might have also heard the English phrase, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So this is basically the reason that Bhaiya failed every class, and Munna, because he had that work-life balance, he played a lot and he studied hard also, and completed his homework on time, daily homework on time. He passed the class. So basically, we should also do that. We should devote equal time to play and equal time to study, and then we can have whatever we want.
So we can say this is the message for all the learners, right?
Yeah.
And it's an emotional play.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, ma'am, as we are running very short of time, we have to wrap up this session here only. But thank you so very much, Kanika ma'am, for being with us. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And dear learner, as we have to wrap up this session here only, but you stay tuned to eVidya channels and NCERT official YouTube channel for more informative program. Our next session is for 5th standard Hindi student and the topic would be Chitti Ka Safar. And before I wrap up, let me share a very important piece of information with you all regarding NCERT textbooks. NCERT textbooks for the year 2023-24 are available throughout the country, and these textbooks may be purchased directly from NCERT sales counters located at New Delhi, Ahmedabad, Bengaluru, Kolkata and Guwahati. These sales counters will be functional on all the weekdays including adjusted holidays, Saturdays, Sundays as well from 9:30 AM to 6 PM. And you may also place order for the books online from our website, that is ncertbooks.ncert.gov.in, and these books will be delivered at your doorsteps with no delivery fees. And in case if you want the soft copy of all those books in PDF version, it can also be downloaded online for free from NCERT, Diksha, ePathshala website and from our mobile app as well. Please visit our website, that is ncert.nic.in, to know more about the authorized vendors. With that note, me Renu Bhatt is taking your leave, but you stay tuned to eVidya channel and NCERT official YouTube channel. Namaskar.